Bong Sao, and you go upward. Wing Chun uses the snake hand because Wing Chun usually people just need to detail is circle, and strike. Low palm and upward palm. Today I will be focusing on the anatomical tools of Wing Chun, focusing on the upper and the lower anatomical tools. And as we can recall, Wing Chun is not applied from straight face to face head on as in the basics, but in advanced levels is applied from the side and applied from the back. So I'll be showing the applications of those maneuvers to the side and to the back. I will be assisted by Rafi Kevorkian and my other student, Shan Karayan. All right, the first tool I'll be showing is Chun II, the street punch of Wing Chun. And basically, this is the bread and butter punch. In Wing Chun, in the first form, we extend the fist and we extend with the entire body. Okay, and this way we strike out diagonally. Okay, and the power of the arm and shoulders, as well as the body, is behind the punch. In application, it looks like this. Again, and again. The first one, I'm doing it at the side gate, where I've taken the side, so I don't have to deal with his two hands. The idea is in Wing Chun, you cover and strike him and control him. The second thing is you need to break his balance in order to make him fall back. Or I take his back, where I control his elbow, and immediately strike from behind. Okay? In this way, there's hardly any way for him to counter against me. The next tool is Chun II. It comes from the second form of Wing Chun called Chun II. In general, the Chun II is from Bong Sao, and you go upward. Okay? In application, you have to use again the body. The stance has to sink and then bounce up, right? Hence the name Chun II. Chou means bouncing, and it's equivalent to an uppercut in other systems, but in Wing Chun we call it a bouncing punch. All right. When the opponent strikes, I use his momentum and break his structure. Once I break his structure, I am able to deliver my tool. The next strike I will introduce is Wang Sao Chui. Wang Sao is the horizontal sweeping punch in Wing Chun. It's found in the third form, Biu Ji. Okay, in Biu Ji, we can grab and then strike. Okay, in application, it's used where I again break the opponent's balance and then strike him horizontally. So, okay. Wing Chun also has a low street punch called Chap Chui. Chap Chui is a piercing or stabbing punch. In Choi Lei Fut, you do it with a flat fist. In Wing Chun, you do it with the vertical fist, of course. And basically what it is a street punch done to the low angle. Rafi, strike. Wing Chun also uses specialty fists. So one of the specialty fists is Feng An Chui. Feng An Chui is in the Biu Ji form, but is also found in the knife maneuvers. Again. Next of Wing Chun's tools is Gyeongji Chui, or ginger fist. This is commonly found in the third form and uses the second row of knuckles here. Striking or striking. Wing Chun uses what we call the bridge, the forearm, a lot because we distance. Wing Chun's distance is like embracing someone, giving someone a hug. And so in using so, we use the forearm as a weapon in itself. We can use it defensively against a striking tool, or we can use it just to come in, enter, and break the opponent's balance. Okay? So I'll be showing what we call 标中手, okay, the darting, crashing hand. Okay? So my opponent's coming in, I come in. Again. The 标中手 often leads to what we call 立頸手, grabbing the neck hand. Grabbing the neck is not simply grabbing the neck, it's pulling and breaking the opponent's balance or striking him from behind. Wing Chun uses a snake hand because Wing Chun originally derived from the snake and crane forms. So we use the snake hand. This hand is used not at long distance for defense, but we use it for attack in close range. I come in and strike him with my wrist. And I come in and strike him with my bridge. In Wing Chun, even defensive positions can be considered offensive because we are in close range combat. For example, in the second form Chun II, we have a Wang Lan Sao, horizontal Lan Sao position. Often people just think of it as a guard of sorts, but it's used to destroy the opponent's balance. Come in, strike. Yeah. All right, in coming in with this motion, what I do is I cover his bridge so that I obstruct any motion. By moving in, his hand is sent out at an angle. Coming in, I obstruct his body. And my stance, I use the power of the stance and structure to send him flying. On the opposite side, I do cover the same thing, step behind him, and then use my structure again. All right? So it's important to understand power comes from the body, not the arms. Wing Chun uses what we call 标击. 标击 is the darting fingers. A lot of people think that you send the 标击 from underneath and out or on top and out. But the idea is not to use your fingertips to strike people. The idea is that it's never seen. So we have the saying, 标击不出門, means 標擊 does not come out the gate. You don't see 標擊 at all. So here I'll show you some examples of how to use 標擊. One more. All right, Wing Chun has a common application, 殺頸手. Problem is most people use the elbow up. I tend to use the elbow down, so I can have double insurance. As I said, you're going to strike, you have protection at all times. Attack. Although Wing Chun is called Wing Chun fist, it could also be called Wing Chun palm. We use the palm so many times in the art, and actually the palm strikes outnumber the number of fist strikes. So we'll be using what we call 长剑, the thrusting palm. This one. Wing Chun uses what we call 扑翼手. 扑翼手 is the flapping wing. It's from the Yin Kei San system and also from Gulao Wing Chun system. We use both palms, striking out horizontally. So the detail is circle and strike, circle and strike. The next tool I'll introduce is 标手. 标手 comes from the third form, 标击. But here we use the bridge as the major tool. Again, it's an uprooting tool, right? Send the opponent flying and break his structure. See, as Rafi comes in, what happens is I lock and load. I load my stance to accept his force. Once I accept his force, then I extend my legs once he's in close enough, so I have captured his center of gravity to set him flying. Wing Chun has butterfly palms too. So we have in the wooden dummy a low palm and upward palm. So we train them up and down and up, or up and down. So these don't make sense from the front position. So we actually do it from the side or back position. In the wooden dummy, we have various ball pai sao, or holding the shield palm. Okay, these are also variations of diagonal or vertical butterfly palms. For example, I might do Chun II and ball pai sao, or Gan sao and ball pai sao, or I simply do Bang sao and then ball pai sao, or Bang sao and reverse side ball pai sao. Each one of these have a little bit different setup. Wing Chun has an uplifting palm, which we call tok jeong. Tok jeong is either done to the low line or the upper line, right? And so if you do it from the front, it's too easy to stop. From behind, it has no defense. Wing Chun uses the elbows quite a bit, and so at close range, we use the horizontal hai zhang, from the Chamkil form, or we use Gui Zhang, right, from Bingji form. So Gui Zhang is using the elbow downward at a downward angle, right, and Pai Zhang uses it horizontally. So I'll introduce two of these techniques together with Sean. Sean punches with his right hand. The first elbow strike, my goal is a limb destruction. So I want to destroy his right arm. So if he strikes towards me, right, then what I do is I strike into his bicep. Okay? If I press this arm down, then I can strike him horizontally this way. In the Gui Zhang, I also use it as a limb destruction. He comes and strikes. I strike against his bicep again. Okay? Then I can strike at his neck or behind his ear, or I can strike on his face, depending on the height of the opponent. Wing Chun also uses the upward elbow as an inside strike, but we can also use it to the outside. Yeah, I'll show it with Sean. This Sean strikes in. Fast. One more time. In all of these maneuvers, what has to happen is you have to do the setup, because you know basic Wing Chun, you know Jat Sao, you know Pak Sao, you know Wu Sao, you know any of the hands of Wing Chun. Those are to set up so that it clears the way for your tool. You know, otherwise, you cannot use these tools properly. They can't be used by themselves without a setup. So it's the assisting hand, the guard hand, which is the important one. Wing Chun's kicks are also felt but unseen. We have a saying in Wing Chun, kick does not miss. The idea behind the kick is that it cannot be defended against. Because of a close quarters distance, we use the kicks specifically from the side or behind the opponent so that there's no defense against them. The Wing Chun front kick is done stomping. All of the kicks in Wing Chun almost are done stomping, where you have to stomp into the opponent. You imagine a big bug and you want to stomp on them. So what you do is you stomp with your heel. Usually the foot, the two heels face each other when you're kicking. So that's very important. Strike down, right? Kick down with the heel. It's very important. I'll be doing a Wing Chun groin kick, what we call Liu Yam Girl. It means leaking into the yin or private parts. Okay, in this kick, we kick from behind. We don't kick from the front where a person can stop it. Wing Chun uses a side kick, but we use it sparingly. We should use it as a defense when you're almost finished with the opponent. You've broken their structure. One of the most important things is pull down the opponent so that they're rooted. When they're rooted, then you execute the kick, right? And then they have a greater chance for damage. So the side kick, then generally we are from the guard position. The hand is up, Wu Sao. Bong Sao is the second position, and we use this to cover our body, and then we execute the side kick. The side kick is a snappy kick, kicking straight down at a 45-degree angle, kicking with the heel, not with the side of the foot. Again. Wing Chun also has the round kick, but it's a hidden kick. It's usually found in the knife form. In the knife form, we step from the outside to the inside with scalloped steps. Okay, as we step in with these scalloped steps, if we raise the leg slightly, what we're doing is doing a round kick with the shin. Wing Chun has many hidden kicks in the dummy. There's a kick called Pak Geuk. Pak Geuk uses the flat of the foot, using the flat of the foot to either sweep or throw or strike the opponent's knee. So again, this is used from the side or used from behind. So you attack. Wing Chun has a lot of what we call hammering kicks, or what we call Dan Geuk. Dan Geuk, the idea is to nail the opponent. Right? In other words, you have to bring his structure down where he's planted on the spot. When he's got weight on his leg, then you kick him, and then you'll break him. So the idea is you position him, pull him down slightly, kick him, kick right through him. You're stomping through the opponent. Okay, my idea is to pull the opponent down. When he strikes, I pull the opponent down. I put weight on his leg. When I put weight on his leg, it's easy for me to dislocate his knee from that point. Wing Chun, we use the hands to set up the kicks. So what we want to do is control the opponent's upper part of the body, and by pulling him in or pushing him away or guiding him to the side or disrupting his balance downward, what we use the hands to guide him all the time. We may use the hands this way and guide him downward to the side, to the left, to the right, pull him down. Either way, that gives us impetus to use our kicks. It makes an opening where we can leak in through. So what happens is my hands control him. So as I said, I can pull him down, I can push him up, I can lead him to the angle, I can turn him down to the side. Either way, whenever I position him, I'm able to kick him at different angles because of my controlling his center of gravity. All right, that's from the side. If I do it from behind, what happens is my footwork and placement are already breaking his balance, and all I have to do is use my leg to take him down. Wing Chun, because of its close quarters nature, uses the knees a lot. So we use the knees in striking. What we want to do is, again, to destroy the opponent's balance. We want to humiliate him. We want to punish him. We want to cramp his muscles. We want to destroy his tendons so that he cannot stand against us. So we use the knees in close quarters many times. I'll show you some examples of that. I'm going to show one close up to the knee. So he comes in, attacks, in. In Wing Chun, we have a saying, kick the post. And what it means is I attack his supporting leg. When I attack the opponent's supporting leg, when he kicks, then he doesn't have an effective kick against me, and I'm able to break his balance. So some examples of that. You round kick. Again. Round kick. Many of the things I showed today are dependent upon the taking of the angle and positioning. And so timing and positioning beats reflexes, because why? Reflexes are just things that you learn and train, but you're doing them instinctively without thought. But when you've set up position and timing, then you can control the situation. For example, when I guide him with his hands, he throws a punch, I am able to guide him and position his hands as such. This is me just keeping my body stable. What he feels is, he feels my hands guiding him. He has to make adjustment to his balance because he doesn't know what's going to go on. So what I do is I can control him from there. Right? The other thing is, in the advanced stages, or shall we say just in application, what we're also doing is when I pull him in one direction, my body's already going in another direction. Right? When I'm in this position, as you can see, it doesn't matter what your reflexes are. Okay? You're one beat behind me. I'm able to take you and strike you. And that's the essence of Wing Chun. How do you know you have structure or not? One of the good drills to do is what we call the flypaper chest. In this drill, is done with a partner, is the opponent strikes at you and you stick to him. So when he's maneuvering, what you're doing is you're positioning your body so that it's like flypaper. You maintain and you can break his structure with your body and make sure you know how to use it. This way you're not using the shoulder power or strength of your arms. What you're doing is you're using the body motion, and then you're able to stick with him with your torso. So it's like flypaper on your chest. In fighting, it's not a matter of you imposing your will on your opponent only. Okay, that may be combat fighting in the ring or something of that sort, or where you're dominating against someone else. But if you don't know the difference in skill of the opponent, then you have to seek his openings, because every motion that he does, he tells you how he wants to be hit and how he is open in certain areas. Okay, so for example, if Sean strikes, okay, then he's open on the upper or the lower gate. Okay, I'm able to leak in and strike in those upper and lower gates because of his positioning, right? If he turns and positions to me, okay, I assist him and in turning, because what's happening is many Wing Chun people, they shift a lot. The problem with shifting a lot is if he throws a punch with a shift, he's able to be off balance because he's not controlling his center of gravity, because he's thrown it and then trying to regain it and stabilize it. So I don't agree with a lot of shifts. I don't agree with a lot of like turning body unless you need it, right? In this case, the opponent shows the opportunity of how he wants to be defeated. You don't want to just say, oh, I'm going to hit you in the face, I'm going to hit you in the stomach. Actually, any strike that he does is an opening of the gate, right? So then I can see, where does he have to get hit? Wing Chun, because it's close quarters, you will get hit. It's a fact of life, right? You're going to get hit many, many times. When you get hit, it's important for you to know how to roll the head. So you get struck in the head, the face rolls and then comes back. Or it's positioned where it's straight and you use it glancingly and your face moves. And what you do with the body is you shrug off the strikes. What you have to do is break into center of gravity and shrug off any strikes or blows to the body, to the torso. So in combat, what happens is he strikes to the head, right? I need to roll off his strike. Or if he strikes to my chest, what has to happen is I need to shrug off his strike. This way, I'm not too worried or perturbed about it. If he strikes again with this hand, right, against my chest, what happens is I shift slightly and then step in. At this point, he's at a weaker position. In Wing Chun, we do a lot of shifts in the second and third form. For example, second form comes from here and shift in, bounce out, shift in, bounce out. Other Wing Chun systems, they step and then shift, step and then shift, right? They step and shift at the same time. Either or, they do a lot of it. A lot of people think that that is the Wing Chun power base, when it's in actuality not the Wing Chun power base, it's the Wing Chun evasion. Okay, so I'll show some examples of this. In shifting, you're not supposed to shift on top of the ground. You need to shift into the ground, like a screw going into the ground, or like cogs of a gear interlocking. The teeth, the cogs, are shifting, shifting, shifting. In this way, you control. If a person just does empty shifting, let's say Rafi's doing Wing Chun's shifting punches, okay, what he's doing is he's shifting on top of the ground. Shifting on top of the ground, well, it doesn't matter. You shift on the ground, I just push you, you're off balance. Because why? You're uprooting yourself in order to shift, and then you will lose your balance, right? What has to happen is when you shift, you need to be in contact with the opponent. And when you shift, he shifts. So like I said, it's like the cogs of a wheel, right? You don't shift empty. You have to shift in connection with the opponent. This way, you see, you have your position where he's off position, and then now you have a better position than him, okay? And that's the idea behind it. In Wing Chun, you want to insert the legs between the opponent's legs, because in this way you really got control of the center of gravity and make sure that the opponent is off balance. All right, in doing that, you can set up for multiple shots and strikes. Best thing, again, is not to do it from the front, is to do it from the side or behind. Okay, that's it. When Rafi attacks, I position in between his legs. As I position in between his legs, I don't need any upper torso power. All I need is my lower stance and my hips to send him flying. Step in with that leg. Okay. Again, this side. In inserting the legs, we do an exercise what we call pushing horse. In pushing horse, what happens is we have two partners face in a forward stance, and then from that point, they're pushing with their leg. They're using that as a continuous step. We call that also big ma. Big ma means close off step, so that I'm crowding or pushing or trapping the opponent with the steps. So again, I'll show it. In position. In Wing Chun, what you want to do is set up for the strikes. What has to be done, I can't emphasize it enough, is that your secondary hands, Tan Bang Fok, which is secondary to your attacking hands, your fist strikes, your palm strikes, and the like, they need to be set up. In order to set up, when they land, what happens is you're constantly pressing or pushing the opponent off balance. This allows you to strike them again and again and again and again without being struck, because you're constantly disrupting the opponent's center of gravity. That's the idea behind advanced level Wing Chun. You are not just simply hitting, pushing, and retracting your hand. You need to control the opponent's center of gravity. What has to happen is, if my opponent strikes, I position and strike, hold him off balance, strike him, push him, strike him, strike him, strike him, and strike him. Okay? This way, I'm always maintaining this pressure to break his center of gravity so that I can land my shots in a continuous manner. Wing Chun is based on the saying, Lai Lao Hui Song, Let Zhou Jik Chong. The idea behind that is when the opponent comes, you receive him. When he goes, you escort him. And when you lost control of the hands, you rush in to make contact with him. All right? And this way, this is the central core of Wing Chun. So what happens with it is when my opponent comes, I have to have a root. I receive his energy, and I take his energy into my body. When I take my energy, his energy into my body, what happens is I send him off. If he starts to go, run away, I need to escort him, because who am I not to be a bellman to send him off? Right? Similarly, if we don't have contact, then what I have to do is I have to force contact. When I force contact, then you know he's come into a situation where I can disbalance him and continue to strike him because I'm pushing him off balance, using my body as my main weapon. And then the hands are the assistant to the body's power. So the idea behind Wing Chun is have the Wing Chun body power. If you don't have the Wing Chun body power, then you need to seek instruction in competent instruction in the forms, the basic drills and exercises, the chi sao, the sticking hands, and so on, because this is what makes Wing Chun alive. So in Wing Chun, everything is basically lai lao hui song, lat sao jik chong. As the opponent comes, you receive him. As he goes, you escort him. And if you don't have contact, you rush in so that you make contact. And this way, you can control the opponent's center of gravity. Again, advanced Wing Chun really has to make use of your body, not your hand. The problem with most people in Wing Chun these days is they use the hand and the limbs as separate from the body, and as a result of it, it's not coordinated. Similarly, the steps do not have your opponent face you directly where you have to fight him with two limbs and then two legs. It's too much to handle. If you already position yourself into a position like this, he only has half the tools available to him. And if you position in this way, all the way behind him, he has nothing to protect him, right? He's just going to receive my blows. And this is the proper way that Wing Chun is used. All right. Well, thank you very much for today. And Rafi, thank you very much.